All right, we're ready. All right, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. This is to continue our monthly technology overviews. We've done, I can't believe it, but it's been over a year. We've done one every month, and we've covered a lot of different stuff, a lot of different products, a lot of different solutions, mainly around NEC. All of those are recorded. They're put on our website for you to go back and download and listen to at your own in your own time if you need to, or share it with coworkers. But today, I'm happy to say we got Rod Johnson on the call with us today. Rod Johnson is the Director of Product Management and Sales Engineering. Rod's been with NEC for a long time, a personal friend of mine for a long time, and a great guy. So he's put together a really good product kind of roadmap showing you what's coming out and some of the new solutions, and I'm sure you'll find it very beneficial. So with that, I always cover a couple slides on Forerunner just in case there's somebody new that doesn't know us and want to know a little bit more. It's not much, it's just a little bit. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always call me. So if you go to our website, this is what I'm talking about, frtinc.com. If you go to the news and events and under the webinars, this is where all of the webinar sessions that we've done over the last year are uploaded to. So we've covered quite a bit of stuff, as you can see. The UC Manager, MA4000, ACD, voicemail, DVS, which is call recording, workforce management, right? Biometrics, that was the well-attended one. Software-defined networking. So we'll upload this one when we're done as well. Okay. So NEC. So Forerunner and NEC, we're a nationwide exclusive channel partner for NEC. We're a triple diamond dealer, which is their highest level. We're the fastest growing partner in NEC's history. This past year, we grew with NEC over 400%. So yes, we are growing, we're expanding, and every day adding more and more enterprise customers to our customer base. All right, so with that, we're adding quite a few engineers as well. It seems like every month we're adding a couple more. We're the first partner to install a virtualized 9500, and Rod's actually going to talk about the 9500 quite a bit today. So that's kind of bragging rights for us. We were also the first partner to install a smart enterprise solution. A smart enterprise solution means quite a few things, but it's basically taking multiple NEC solutions, putting them together, and making it work for the customer. In this case, it was a company called Vox, and we installed a pure voice solution, SV9000, with software-defined networking riding on Dell switches. So we are also the exclusive partner for the Dell and NEC relationship. So we're pretty happy about that one. If y'all want to hear any more about that, just give me a shout. I'll be more than happy to cover what we did. We're also just recently, in the last couple months, are one of the partners for NEC doing biometrics, so facial recognition software, a solution called NeoFace. We just had a customer event here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We all went to the Texas Rangers ballpark, and we had a couple hours where we did product overview, and it was mainly all around biometrics. And then after that, we had the suite and dinner and all that good stuff. But it was well attended and a lot of interest around facial recognition. So I think everybody on the call could probably come up with some way that solution could help your business. All right. So our philosophy, this hasn't changed and it never will. Customer satisfaction is our main priority, right? Treat you the way you want to be treated. That's kind of why I started these webinars over a year ago, right? It's a way to get information to you. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get that, so we do these once a month. Okay. Our employee mix, this probably needs to be updated. I think we're at 135 now. But the reason I show this slide is because I want you to see we're pretty slim on the sales side of the house, and we're beefed up on the technical side. So a lot of engineers, a lot of certifications, and that's how we're supporting over 7,000 customers nationwide, is because we have that strong base of engineers and technical resources. And our NOC, right? Our NOC in Huntsville is the kind of the tip of the spear, I'll say. So that's our employee mix, and then this is us. This is what we do, right? This is our our go-to-business strategy. This makes up Forerunner, right? Whether it's infrastructure or voice or virtualization, storage, SDN. I mentioned biometrics, right? SD-WAN, CloudGenix, right? Another partner of ours. Next month we'll do a session on CloudGenix and what is software-defined WAN solution. So, and then the last one is the service management. That's us taking all these solutions, implementing them, servicing them, and then managing that in some kind of contract for you. So this is us. That's quick and easy. I always do it on every one. Now we'll go to Rod Johnson, and he's going to give us the NEC product overview. Rod, I think I need to make you a presenter. Does anybody have any questions on Forerunner before we get into Rod's piece? No? Okay. Rod, you got it, buddy?
I've got it.
There we go. I can see your screen.
So we're going to primarily be talking about the SV9000 roadmap. Feel free to stop me and ask questions at any point in time. So we're going to go over a little bit of our general strategy at NEC and some of our delivery models. Then we're going to delve into the SV9000 updates. Then we're going to talk a little bit about session border controllers that we introduced earlier this year. Very brief update on SV9300 and some about our unified communications and applications, as well as some other enhancements. So with that, as of the beginning of this year, we had merged at NET all of our IT group that handled servers and storage and those elements with our unified communications group. And one of the main goals we had, and then later this year in June, we actually consolidated all of product management and sales engineering in one team so that our sales engineers would be closer to the knowledge that the product managers had, so they would be in a better position to be able to relay information to partners and customers alike. So one things that we've been doing in 2017 is merging together various IT solutions with our unified communications in order to provide better high availability as well as integration with software-defined networking that can provide dynamic solutions in the network fabric, as well as working with biometric to integrate that with unified communications so we can do things such as mass notification voice based upon facial recognition. We can automatically launch a collaboration session and bring streaming video into it. All of those are things that we're currently working on in order to integrate unified communications with some of the various solutions that we're doing. From a delivery model standpoint, we support delivery from a private cloud perspective, a public cloud perspective. We have a network operations center in Iron Mountain that delivers infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. So we can provide unique solutions there in order to enhance your business operations. We're also introducing what we call OpEx models, or really on-premise monthly recurring models for 9500 and for 9100. 9100's already released, already out in the market. We're seeing a lot of excitement there. 9500 is yet to come. We also do hybrid applications, such as for on-premise solutions that need a more robust contact center that has web-based supervisors and web-based agents. And so it's more from a cloud delivery perspective. We can enhance on-premise that way. And then, of course, our on-premise solutions. As I mentioned on the cloud, hybrid applications today that we have released is contact center, recording, and workforce optimization. Eventually, we'll have video solutions that provide enhanced MCU or multi-conference units for supporting video from the cloud. The 9500 Blue, we call it, because our umbrella for cloud is Univerge Blue. The benefit of this is all of the features and capabilities of the 9500 is rolled into a single user per month price. So it simplifies the licensing model. It simplifies the support model, because now if a phone goes bad and you're in this model, it just gets replaced. If a gateway goes bad and it's in this model, it just gets replaced. It's all covered under that per monthly cost. And then we bundle that with the phones are included, unified messaging's included, and DID numbers, as well as SIP trunks and long distance minutes. Then we allow you to add other specific applications onto that in addition to the user licensing. Again, this isn't released yet, but it's coming soon. Some more information on the SV9000 Blue. I mentioned most of these. Solve dissatisfaction and expense. An understandable service menu, very simple. User licensing in various applications. Always current and up to date. And the flexible seamless growth or contraction. So we're allowing for both directions. You start off with 1,000 users. You need to decrease to 900 users. So creating that more flexible on-demand model. So any questions at that introduction? If not, we'll delve on into the rest of the updates. Okay. So most of you probably know SV9000 is very strong in the hospitality area, has a lot of unique hospitality features and integration. We're very strong in K through 12 and in universities and colleges, primarily because of our security and our high availability. Healthcare is another big vertical that we're prominent in. In the government, a lot of veterans administrations are using the SV9000. And some of the key values that we have is the geo-redundancy, that whether it's across the wide area network or the local area network, we can provide that business continuity and disaster recovery. We have two different models in the SV9000. The appliance-based model, which is really good if you have a lot of TDM, digital phones or analog, and we have the software model, which is virtualized and can be virtualized in VMware servers and off-the-shelf servers. From a hospitality perspective, we do unique integrations, such as with Hot Sauce, which is a predominant ticketing system used in the hospitality industry. We can provide emergency on-site notification and group notifications based on emergency calls, and of course, unified communications. One of the things we've introduced recently, and Stephen touched on this in the beginning, his opening, is the SV9000 with software-defined networking. We've included a package that adds the programmable flow, that's our name for our controller, and that takes the logic and the intelligence of the network and it centralizes it, because now you're able from a centralized point to push policies out, to push restrictions, and to take dynamic action in the network environment based upon various conditions that might be reported to you by network switches, by applications that are integrated with the software-defined networking. So we bundle in the programmable flow at no additional cost on our starter package for the 9500 virtualization. And then from there you can add additional network switches, core switches, as well as Dell PoE switches and other options. So the real benefit of software-defined networking is it virtualizes the network. I can create different virtual layers in the network. I can provide cyber attack defense using intrusion detection systems such as SonicWall or Palo Alto. And I believe at the location that Stephen mentioned, this was one of the applications they were using. The SonicWall actually is integrated to our SDN adapter, right? That's called our northbound API, where applications riding on the network can integrate. We also have a southbound API where network switches integrate and provide information so we can take dynamic actions. And in this case, if there was a virus taking place that the intrusion detection system became aware of, it can notify the software-defined programmable flow, and it can immediately take action. And rather than shutting down the whole network, you can shut down just the individual element or PC which is causing the problem and isolate it from the environment. And that's part of what the software-defined networking can do, is building that intelligence in because you put it at a higher level. One of the other big areas that we're concerned about, and one of the areas where we've taken some of our IT solutions and applications and integrated it with the Univerge 9500, also with the Univerge 3C and some of our other solutions such as unified messaging, is in high availability. And so we can provide site redundancy, we can provide geographic redundancy. And in the appliance-based model, that's done within an individual appliance where you have a CPU 0, a CPU 1, dual power supplies, etc., and they can fail over with each other. In the software-based, the virtualized SV9000, we can do that with fault-tolerant servers, which is a unique solution from NEC that actually provides replication of the entire server. So the CPUs, the memory, the NIC cards, the power supplies, the hard disk drives, all of those are totally redundant. And any failure in any of those automatically switches to the other side. You don't even see a flicker in a PC screen. If you pull the active CPU, it won't have any effect on what you're watching a video across the PC screen. Then we also have a software-based high availability solution that can be used in combination with that fault-tolerant server. That's our Express cluster. And it can provide redundancy within the local area network or across the WAN. And both of these can be used together. And those applications are not just for unified communications. They could be used for any kind of critical application you have running in your environment, for contact centers, for database, critical database infrastructure, for video surveillance that you were doing. All of those things could be used. We also support, of course, VMware high availability vMotion. But Express cluster and fault-tolerant servers provide a more economic way to provide that redundancy over what VMware high availability does. So again, this is another diagram of that where we have our fault-tolerant server providing a true 5 nines, 0 failover time, instantaneous. So like in unified communications, you're used to normal IP failover, maybe 2 to 5 minutes when a primary server goes down before the phone registers with another secondary server and you have continuous operation. In this case, with the fault-tolerant server, it's 0 downtime, 0 re-registration. Everything just keeps operating as if nothing was known. Additionally, from a maintenance standpoint, if one side is bad, you can just slide that module out, slide a new module in. So the repair and replacement is very quick, very easy, and reducing the maintenance of that. A little bit more on the fault-tolerant server and being used with our 9500. as well as with other applications. A little bit more on Express Cluster. One of the benefits here is that you don't have to have a storage area network, right? So in a VMware solution, you need to have a storage area network where the application is storing within a common database, so that when this side fails over to this side, it's still pointed to that common database and can continue operation. In this case, all of that is backed up across the WAN. It's differential, it's real time, it allows for failback, and it's a true hot standby situation. So the support for the failover is much better than with VMware vMotion. So going over some of the features that have been introduced in version 3, earlier this year or towards the end of last year, we introduced the geo-redundancy. We introduced easy setup of our UG50 gateway, which is a gateway that supports digital phones, analog phones, PRI, analog trunks, and that can provide survivability for IP phones. We made it simpler to install. So in our management, web-based management tool, the UC Manager, we've made it very easy for that to get installed and turned up. We've also added standard-based SIP capability within our SIP trunks, our media gateway SIP, T.38 for fax, refer-based transfers, video support. We now support H.264 SIP video on the SV9000 across the SIP trunks, NAT transversal. RFC 2833 is a protocol or standard by which DTMF signaling is done out of band on SIP. So we've implemented that capability. We've also implemented emergency location via LLDP. So now on a switch port basis, the ELINs, or the emergency line identification numbers, can be assigned and utilized when emergency calls go out from the network via the LLDP. Version 4 is just released recently, and we provided alternate routing using the UG50 PRIs. We've introduced overhead paging over the CO trunks, SIP terminal encryption via TLS, enhancements on the VS32, which is our music on hold, our conferencing unit, being able to virtualize that, no longer requiring a piece of hardware. It's all in software. Of course, the Express Cluster integration, and we're still working on the 9500 Blue or OpEx model to release that soon. T.38 fax, you all know how that works. And if it comes in via the SIP trunk, we can transmit that to the fax server. The RFC 2833, again, for out-of-band signaling, and it allows compression of voice without affecting the DTMF tones. So that was a problem. If you weren't using G.711 and everything was coming in band over the same channels as the voice, doing compression such as G.729 could cause problems with the DTMF being recognizable. SIP refer is a methodology by which if a call comes in on an incoming trunk and it gets forwarded out or gets transferred and it's elsewhere, it can basically tear down those trunks, so it provides better efficiency for your SIP trunks, and they're now available for other calls, and the call can be established peer-to-peer with the refer-based transfer. Some of the other things that we provided is the SIP call forwarding, being able to temporarily redirect that SIP call forward. So if a call comes in on an MG SIP trunk, it goes to a terminal and goes back out that SIP trunk through the PSTN to some outside number. We can do that temporary redirect so that the call is going through the PSTN and no longer occupying the SIP trunk. So now that SIP trunk is available to take other incoming calls. We've also provided the SRTP, the secure RTP encryption, to further support security in the premise environment. Another enhancement we've done is previously on our ACD, we provided agent licenses in bundles, 25 agents, 50 agents, 200 agents. And if you only wanted 135 agents, you'd have to buy a 200 agent license. Well, that wasn't very cost effective for you, the customer. So we've implemented individual licensing at this point. So now you can buy just what you need rather than buying it in bundles, elements that you don't need. Some of the other things that we provided in version 4 release, as I've already mentioned, the VS32 virtualization, software-based rather than hardware-based. But we've also provided one-touch call forwarding, and another unique feature is call forwarding destination per trunk route. So if you had various incoming trunk routes and the calls coming into the same terminal, in one case that call may forward back out to an external phone. If it comes in on a different trunk route, it may forward to a individual station. So 9500, I don't have a lot of information on version 5, which is due to come out a little bit later this year. But here's what we do have, add-on conference on VS32. ST500 is a new standards-based SIP application which will operate on mobility devices on iOS and Android, and provide standards-based video support on those devices to the 9500. Call history for subline enhancement, station feature hunting enhancements. An example of the ST500 today, we have what we call our multi-line client, MLC client, and this is kind of a look of that runs on iOS and Android. And this is a view of that new single-line client, ST500, which will be coming out soon, and standards-based. So it's going to support your standard session border controller connectivity. Another major feature that a lot of enterprises have been looking for is dual stream call recording. And that's coming soon. Today, you have to do data port mirroring, which can really be a hassle in a large network. What this is going to allow is dual streaming from the NEC terminals back to the recording. We're presently working on this with DVS Analytics Encore, and they'll be the first call recording application to have this. And then once we get this all done and we're ready for release, we can release the API to other call recording companies such as CXM. Any questions so far on some of those updates on 9500?
There's some questions. Can you see the chat, Rod?
Oh,
there's some questions down here. We can maybe Mark Reynolds. Did we have a question around the UCAS and the 9500?
Well, I was pre-Rod before until he said it. I already emailed Rom. I want to know when the 9500 will be ready for a UCAS type deployment and get us out of the hardware business. So my idea is by 2021 to really be a hosted product. But anyway, Rod answered it once he said it. I just don't. It's not ready for prime time. So I was just asking Rod if he knew when that was going to be ready for availability.
Yeah, so the SV9000 Blue, we're hoping we can get that release, which is a premise-based or private cloud type offering by within the next few months. They're just working through the pricing model at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then Mike Smith had one. Will your strategy for future products change with the announcement of Mitel purchasing ShoreTel? I thought that was an interesting question. Everybody on the call is aware of Mitel buying ShoreTel today, right?
Well,
yeah,
that comes from Mike, so we have to be, you know, is that Mike Smith? Who is it?
Mike Smith.
I have to say hi, Mike, fellow veteran. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how our product strategy would change at this point. I mean, Mitel buying ShoreTel kind of raises a lot of questions, such as, well, which one's going to be their on-premise solution? What will be their cloud solution? Will they try to maintain all of their solutions? And questions like, you know, Mitel had bought other companies and the merger didn't seem to go too well. What's going to happen with this, Mitel and ShoreTel? So right now, I have more questions than I have any type of answers.
Yeah, it's a little too early, and from what I've read so far, there will be no ShoreTel on-prem solution being sold. And Mitel is really buying them for their cloud solution. So we'll just have to see, right, and monitor that. But that's actually a huge disruption, I believe, in the art space. So, okay, well, let's keep on going.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Stephen, this is Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was on their call this morning. I was on their call this morning with the Mitel folks, and all of that finalized on what their strategy and that platform strategy is going to be by September. So I thought that was pretty interesting that they were pushing everybody to migrate to the cloud in some form or fashion.
Oh, Mitel is as well?
Yes, they are. Yes,
okay.
That was pretty clear from the people who were on the call this morning. That's where they want everybody to go, and how they're going to get all those customers to the cloud.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that heads up, buddy. Thanks for that info.
You bet.
Okay, so earlier this year we introduced our NEC Univerge BX session border controller, right? And we all know the need for that. If you're doing IP, if you're taking SIP trunks into your environment, just like you protect your data with a firewall, you need a SIP firewall, right? And the session border controller can protect against a lot of things, brute force DOS attacks, right? TCP, identity spoofing attacks, where someone's trying to emulate one of your phones on your network and do toll fraud or other problems, protocol vulnerabilities, dialogue attacks, you know, unauthorized access. In addition, the session border controller can provide a lot of interoperability, right? It can change SIP headers between what a service provider is expecting and maybe what the 9500 is expecting. So it allows you to do a lot of customization so that you can integrate with various elements or other PBX systems. So on the 9500, we've released the following: audio codes, media packs, because we found in a lot of the distributed environments where maybe they just needed a few analog CO ports or analog station ports. They didn't need that much. A UG50 was going to be way too expensive at those remote sites. The audio code media packs provides a good solution. A 2-port FXS is only $250, $300 MSRP, so very cost effective. Additionally, we found that the session border controllers on BX800, Univerge BX1000, you may have a need for some PRIs as well as a session border controller, or for some analog trunks as well as a session border controller. And the BX800 1000 allows you to do that. Additionally, With our virtualized solution, we didn't have a solution for providing non-facilitated associated signaling over a PRI trunk, or providing line-side T1 trunks to special applications that may require that. The BX800 PRIs and 1000 PRIs allow us to do that. The BX9000 is a software session border controller which is virtualized either on VMware, Hyper-V, or KVM. And it can support up to 6,000 sessions. It can be configured in a redundant format and up to 30,000 users. All of these support transcoding as well. And transcoding is like maybe I'm receiving G.711 from the telco over a SIP trunk, but I've got a T.38 fax machine. I can convert that G711 to T.38, or I can manipulate the SIP header, or I can get non-encrypted SIP from the carrier and I can convert it to encrypted. A lot of different things you can do with transcoding. So that was just a little bit on our Univerge BX. SV9300, I have very minimal information here. They're going to be doing some SIP trunk enhancements, web portal enhancement to support a mobile mode so that you can do the web portal and administration from a mobile device. One-touch group messaging so I can page out to multiple phones. Wake-up call results where you can know if everybody received the wake-up call, and then being able to select the music on hold source across a peer-to-peer CCIS trunk link. So some of our unified communications and application updates. In our UCE manager, we've implemented simple keywords, so as you type you can find what you're looking for. We've made the administration easier by providing more drop-down menus. We've enhanced our call audit logs so that you get more information if you don't need an expensive billing or accounting system. We've added IP address tracking and MAC address when phones register, so you can see that information. We've also begun in providing software-defined networking integration, and we're going to continue doing that and making it more dynamic. And we've also provided some geo-redundancy for the unified communications application. This is an example of that call audit report, just so you get have a flavor of it, where it shows you it's a station call, or it's an incoming, or it's outgoing. And then the MC550, the current mobile client on the UCE, is now supported on Macintosh using the MLC client for the soft phone. So the MLC can operate as the soft phone on a Macintosh, as well as it can operate on the UT880 Android-based phone that we have. And the UC client can run on that UT880 Android-based phone. Whoever's typing, can you kind of mute yourself there? It'd be nice. On our global navigator, one of the needs we had is it used to be supported only on CentOS. Well, in some large enterprises, they didn't accept CentOS. It had to be Red Hat. So we've provided that integration with Red Hat. Additionally, we've enhanced the reporting capability to show more graphics and to give charts in the reports. And also making it more flexible to dock or undock components of the Global Navigator, which is a management information system for ACD. Some of the other enhancements on UCE 2016 is supporting Windows 2016, Windows 10, Edge browser, providing DT820 and UT880 phone management, as well as providing UM8700 Express cluster integration. So there you see that again. We're presently working on Express Cluster to integrate with Business Connect, if you're familiar with that contact center application. Web-based administration for the UM8700, multi-tenant support on UM8700, wake-up call enhancements on 4730, and HTML5 web phone manager. Additionally, on our Encore call recording and workforce management, many improvements there where this can enhance your contact center. You can do scheduling and see what's needed. You can provide evaluations. You can push out training to various agents to help improve the quality of their support on the contact center. Deliver coaching and documents. One of the newer things they've done is they've included some sample e-learning documents as well as videos within the present workforce management in order to provide templates that customers can enhance and build off of. And this kind of states that about the sample slides. This is an example of how one large travel leisure organization enhanced their performance by over 70% in 5 months by using the call recording, the tools to evaluate and to train their agents and to do that e-coaching capability. Very strong solution from a compliance standpoint as well. Any other questions at this time? I can't see the chat.
Okay, let me see. Mark Reynolds, more information on the UCE Mac tracking, how it works.
Well, on the Macintosh or on the MLC,
no,
the MAC address?
It's really based upon conversations that we've had with NEC on how to track for 911. And I know that when we get into ERL and ELINs, but I've always been interested in NEC because you do know the MAC address and you know the IP subnet of where the phone sits, of how to track that. And it sounded like, at least you got me excited there, to think that NEC is, if you're tracking that information from what VLAN they're in or IP subnet and the MAC address, data could then update another database for a 911 system to let the police know that that person has moved dynamically without doing it statically.
Yeah, I mean, the newest thing, we tracked for emergency on-site notification based upon subnet previously. You can still do that. The LLDP, I don't know the technical terminology for it, but it allows you on a switch port basis to actually designate ELINs more on the switch side and have those published into the 9500 so that when an outgoing emergency call goes, it's using that ELIN to send to the public administration point.
Okay. Well, it just got my intrigue again because I've asked NEC this a few years, but I'll bring it up with my group.
Yeah, Brian Christensen would probably be the best subject matter expert on that topic.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark, if you need help with that, just let me know. Okay, bud. A couple more questions. Call audit was only supported on IP port 0. Has the enhancement been completed to include all ports yet? I wasn't aware of that, to be honest with you.
I wasn't aware of that either.
John, I'll have to follow back up for that one, okay, buddy?
All right. I know it went up to development. So while I have you, MLC, when will that be supported on Windows and not just iOS?
Yeah, that's in the roadmap. I can't give you an exact date at this point, but let's take that down too, Stephen, as a question to follow up.
Got it.
All right. And then another one is UCE 2016. I haven't upgraded because of all the issues that's in 2016. When's there going to be another service pack released for that?
I think we've released Service Pack 1 or 2 at this point.
Okay. All right, and then I had one other, and I just forgot it.
All right.
Okay, it'll come to you.
I'm sure it will, Rod.
Okay, some of the other enhancements from a terminal standpoint, in version 3.0, which is already released, we introduced paging using Valcom paging units. And Valcom can support streaming paging over the IP network either via unicast or multicast, and it can allow you to page thousands of phones at one time. They have integration with weather alert systems and these other things. So we've introduced that on the DT820 phones, and then it will be supported later on DT830 phones as well. And that's what this picture here is showing, a DT830, DT820. Additionally, we've added electronic hook switch for a lot of different headsets, mainly on the Plantronic side. We've added built-in VPN on the DT820s, right? So now you don't need a separate VPN for the remote worker. It can be supported natively right from the phone back to your VPN concentrator at the office. We've added additional authentication methodologies for the DT820. We've enhanced the microbrowser and provided more customized programming control for applications to be able to utilize that microbrowser on the phones. In version 3.5, coming soon, we're going to be introducing HTTPS firmware updates so that the firmware updated to the phone can be done in an encrypted and secure fashion. And this is when the dual port or dual streaming of the call recording will be introduced as well. Also additional ringtones. Later with version 4.2 firmware, we'll introduce support for IP version 6, especially where that's required is in the Latin American market and in the European market. But that will then natively support IP version 6 on those terminals. And here's the roadmap item that you talked about on multi-line MLC, push-to-talk, team messaging, standards-based video. Right now, the MLC is just doing a point-to-point video, and this will be standards-based so that it can go to a multi-conference unit and support a multi-party conference video. Work groups, FMC or fixed mobile convergence, where that can be switched across the data network, and then multi-line client for any device. So without saying Windows PC, that's where that's part of that roadmap. It's already supported on Macintosh because we had an immediate need for a soft phone on Macintosh, so that was why that was the first target. And then it's already supported on Android and iOS devices. So the next target for that is on Windows devices, PCs. Some other additional updates on our servers. We have a new fault-tolerant server coming out. It's called the 320F, and this introduces new CPU. Current highest core rating on the CPUs we have of the fault-tolerant today is 12 cores. This brings it up to 14 cores. You can have 2 CPUs per logical side. You refer to this as logical sides, and you talk about a configuration on the fault-tolerant as what the logical side is. So if you say you have 96 gigabyte of RAM, you really have 192 gigabyte if you counted up all of it, but logical side-wise, you have 96. So you could have 28 cores to support virtualization. On our tower servers, very unique. You can have liquid cooled. So if you had a place in a very dusty area, like in a warehouse or under the desk inside of an office where you don't want to hear that fan noise, A liquid-cooled tower server could provide that very nicely. And it also has battery backup that can be within it, so you don't need a separate UPS to protect for power outages. The R120H servers are getting higher core CPUs, up to 28 cores per CPU, making this an extremely good machine for virtualization, because now you could have dual CPU with 56 cores in one machine and a 1U server for that, or 2U if you needed more memory, such as 6 terabytes. Then we have a big data type server that actually supports 44 computers within one 3U or 4U rack. I don't remember the exact size of that. It can also do VDI in a box, right, for big data solutions. And very good, very cost-effective, very small footprint if you have a lot of data, decreasing the rack space required. We have a new server coming out which will have up to 4 nodes within a 2U capacity as well. From our SAN storage standpoint, we're doing many integrations there. We're working with major video management providers such as Milestone, Genetec, some of those where you need a lot of storage area. Our HydroStore solution is very good for archiving as a secondary backup source for providing that disaster recovery. And then finally, I just wanted to mention a little bit, I wanted to show a little bit of the breadth of NEC technology. Stephen mentioned this in the beginning, and they're one of the first partners to sign up on this, is NeoFace Watch. And facial recognition is an area that NEC has exceeded expectations at, because every year since 2012, whenever they've done a NIST facial recognition, we've come in #1 among all of the vendors in real-time surveillance recognition. So when you have crowds of people that are on the move, we perform the best in being able to recognize those faces and identify. And facial recognition allows you to create white lists or black lists, so you could use this for detecting bad actors or detecting VIP guests, important people, such as in a college, a very good donor enters the college, and you want to notify various people so they can greet them by name and give them the red carpet treatment. Access control, integrating with various solutions to provide access control based upon facial recognition. Identity verification. This is one where most of the vendors are somewhat close. We still come in #1 in this area, but this is looking at static database of images and doing a search. Maybe there's a child that's lost in a large stadium or in a university, in fact, right? And you've got cameras throughout the university, and you've got this image, and you're trying to find this person. Where are they? You could input that and not only search the real-time surveillance, but also search the static database of images that you have. Crowd flow management is another application for this, where you can set up camera A, B, and C, and you can time individuals on their journey through that area. And you can use this to help support deploying more people, like say in an immigration scenario or in a security line at the airport. Those kind of things are mapping to your service level agreements that we're going to address the flow of people through this area in this amount of time. And those are some of the applications that NeoFace Watch can be used for. And so with that, are there any other questions? That's all I had. Ooh, this time I'm right on time here, Stephen.
You did a great job, Rod. Great job, man.
Well done, Rod.
I think there's one more question on GNAV. When's GNAV web version? Is that still on the roadmap?
It's on the roadmap, but I don't know expected time frame at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get back with John on that as well.
So, Rod, just so that you know, I always bring that up at Resolve. I've been doing it for the last 5 years. It's critical for everyone in the Resolve community because GNAV has been a problem being a client-based application. And the more people I tell, hopefully one of these days it'll actually get done.
Yeah, another, very quick solution, and I know this is changing to a whole new solution, would be the Univerge Blue contact center and going to more of a hybrid model, because that is web-based. The supervisors are web-based, the agents are web-based, and it's a true cloud contact center. That might be a possibility.
So what do you mean by true cloud-based?
It was designed. It was designed for the cloud. It wasn't a on-premise solution that they've moved into the cloud, right? So from the ground up, it was designed to be able to support web-based interface, web-based reporting, all of those capabilities, monitoring, supervisor dashboards, all of that from the cloud. And from a web interface makes it cloud ready, right? You don't have the hassles of VPN and those kind of necessities that you would from a typical on-premise solution or client-based solution.
So cloud-based as in it couldn't be private cloud, it would have to be
Oh, no, no.
cloud?
They could spin it up as private cloud as well.
Okay.
We don't sell it as a on-premise solution. It is only in the cloud, but we'd have to have discussions with the cloudy people because it's somewhat cloudy to me at this point.
Okay.
Well, I'll follow up with you on that, Rod, because I'm interested in that as well. So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Is there any more questions while we still have Rod? We're right at an hour.
Well done, Rod, Steve. Well done.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you all very much for joining, and look out for the next invitation. We'll be doing it over on CloudGenix. All right?
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.